Hi guys, it's Professor Fernandez. I'm doing a quick video because you guys are still having issues with determining what is fact and what is opinion. And so I'm doing this in hopes that this clears things up for your future journals. Of course, let's talk about your journals. Your journals need a news article dealing with the same topic that you maybe found during a rhetorical situation and or the same argument. Since we are at the level where we're at now, where we're still trying to determine topic, and we're just now learning how to do argument statements, you may want to lean on the topics with an S, because there's more than one, there's more than two, there's usually more than five. So you may want to lean on the topics, looking for an article that's the same topic, maybe not talking about the same opinion that the piece that you're writing about has, but maybe the same topic. And so that may be a little bit easier to do. I'm going to actually bring up, four examples. And these are examples that you have found, and you, I mean the collective you, the class between both sections, have found and have used or attempted to use for your journals, whether it's nonfiction or the poetry journal so far. So I'm going to go through this and show you what is an opinion piece and what is a news piece. If you don't know, you are going to learn today. This is something you should have had in your 1301 when you learned how to evaluate sources. This is when you would have learned that. So that is a requirement to be in this class. So since a lot of you guys did not have that for some reason, I'm going to give you the quick and dirty, okay? And hopefully this will clear things up, because I do not want to push back any more papers, and I do not want to give zeros and 50s on people who've done really hard work. This is not an easy class in that you have to do a lot of thinking and a lot of writing and reading in this class. And the last thing I want to do is give a bad grade to someone who really tried really, really hard. They just got the wrong piece. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to do a screen share here. And I am actually going to use my iPad here. So if you see like weird things, like me not being able to use my iPad for some reason, using the AirPlay of it, that's because I'm old and it is what it is. Okay. So what you should see here is, okay, what you should see here is 4 links. I've actually emailed these 4 links to myself to look at them each one. So I'm going to mark them up, which is why I have the pencil in my hand. So let's get started with the first one. And this one is through, I'm going to mark this up. This is through the New York Times. This is actually, that's in the database. So actually what I did is actually just went to the website of where it would be found. So the first thing you want to do is look, well, the first thing you want to do is make sure that it's within the time frame, right? So March 2019 is when this was written or published. We are in 2020. It's a little bit outside of the realm. Did we already go through March? We did. So it's a little bit outside of the 1 year. So, but it's like, it's really just grasping at straws. That's not something I would have, if this was something to use, it's not something I probably would have commented on. It's close enough, right? It's close enough. So I usually, when I look at what you're listing as the article that you're going to use to talk about the issues in, or the topics in your pieces, or in the pieces that you've decided to talk about, I first look at the headline, and you call it a title, but the proper name is a headline. And I look at this. So first of all, if it's got a question mark in it, it's a big red flag. because news articles tend to not have question marks. Doesn't mean it doesn't sometimes happen, because it does, but the headline tends not to ask questions, because the whole point of the news article is that they're answering questions, not asking them. So I'm looking at that, and that seems very suspicious. So that's when I start looking at it. And then I look and I start reading, and you can tell really right away from the first paragraph. So I'm going to read it out loud. Encouraged by a grandfatherly professor at Cornell in my sophomore year, I gave a speech asking my fellow students, when you come to the end of your days, will you be able to write your own epigraph? So automatically, I know that this is not a news article. Why? Because you have the words my and I, meaning that this is a first person account. News articles are written in third person. So automatically I know that this person is giving their opinion. So this is an opinion article, not a news article. Okay, let's go to the next one. And this one. This is one that a couple people have used from Time Magazine. And Time Magazine is a great source. Like, it's a really, really good source. So I don't want to take you away from a good source. These are good sources. New York Times is a good source. Time is a good source. But they do opinion and they do news. So you have to be careful. Okay, so what you want to do here is to look at the headline. Of course, she's not okay. The conversation that changed how I thought about early motherhood. Ooh, big red flag here with that word right there, the word I, which tells me this is more than likely first person, but I don't want to just judge right away. So I go ahead and look, and then I'm gonna look at like publication date, which should I look over here? Publication date, February 2020, within the realm. So this is good. So let me read. I had made it as far as the street corner when it occurred to me that I hadn't paid. Ooh, I stop at the first sentence. You have two I's here. This is told in first person, which means a person's going to give us their story, and you don't want somebody who's giving their story. You want a third person. You want a news article. So why do you want a news article? Because the whole point of the journal is to tie it back to something that is happening right now in live, that is happening to people. And while this is a good account of what's happening to a person, you don't want it to be colored by a person's opinion, right? You want to say the opinion should come from the piece, whether it's a poem or a fiction piece or a news or an essay, right? So you don't really want to look at one essay and another, right? You don't want to look at a fiction piece and then an essay piece. You want to look at, okay, so this is what's happening in this poem. Oh, here's an article talking about the same topic, and it's happening here. So that's why you want a news article. So this, of course, this right here is it's opinion piece. So can't use it. So let's look at this one. CNN. That's a source. Is it the best source? Probably not the best source. Well, it's an okay source. It's there. Markup. Okay. So I'm looking at the headline. First thing I'm looking at is attorney for July woman who called police on Black birdwatcher decries cancel culture. All right, there is no I at all. There's no first person anything. So far, so good. I'm looking at the date. The date is July 2020. This is like in this year. This is good. Okay. So I'm going to look at like the first paragraph, and it says, the attorney for the white woman facing charges for calling police on a Black man birdwatching in Central Park said she would be acquitted and decried the rise of cancel culture. There is no I. This is told in third person, right? Someone else is giving you the nuts and bolts. So let's continue. We have a quote from the attorney. So we have some news there. And then we have some interesting stuff here. This is what is called a nut graph in the business, which is telling you why it's written, why they're writing the story now, why the article. So it kind of gives you context of what it is. All right, so I don't see an I other than it, it being in quotes, and I think I undid it here. It being in quotes where it says, at this time, I would like to encourage. That is a quote. It is not from the writer. It is from the person who they are quoting or getting that sentence from. So this is a good thing to use. This is a news article. Okay, let's go back. And this last one. And let me mark this up. Did not finish loading. Okay, well, finish loading then. Oh, whatever. Let's just look at it. Okay. Oh, what is this crazy? Vigilante dads who pose as children to catch predators deemed unlawful by police. So I'm looking at the headline. Does the headline tell me anything about, let me see if I can do it now. Ah, no. This is how you know that I'm old. Okay, you can't even mark on it. No, fine. So is there anything here that says an I or first person point of view? It does not. It talks about the dads who are posting as children to catch predators. Boom. Okay, so then that's fine. Check. So let's look at the date here, January 23rd, 2020. Ooh, that's recent. That's within the year. Check. Good to use. All right, so let's look at the first line here, the first paragraph. By the way, if you're interested to know what the actual term of the first paragraph or the first line, usually the first paragraph in a news article is very short. It's usually a sentence or two. It's called a lead. It's not called an intro paragraph. It's called a lead. It's just a thing I know. Okay, so let's look at the lead. Police in Ohio say a group of fathers posing online as teen boys seeking sex with older men are not helping police to bring potential predators to justice. Okay, guess what, my friends? I don't see an I there at all. This is not a first person account. It is not a first person point of view. I see this as third person right here. But let's continue. Let's make sure that we got it. Dads Against Predators group has posted 3 videos online, including one Tuesday showing a man being confronted by a group of men with camera phones asking why he is meeting a 14-year-old boy at Walmart at Fremont. All right, that is a fact. That actually happened. Let's look at everything else. It doesn't look like there's any first person point of view. There's no opinion here. There's just telling the facts of what happened with this group. This is a news article. You can use this. So do you see how there's a difference between opinion pieces and news articles? Opinion pieces will literally give an opinion. It will say, I believe this, I experienced this, I thought this, right? And you have to read a little bit through the piece sometimes, and we got lucky that both of the opinion pieces we picked, or that you guys picked, actually had the word I right in the front, right? It had it in the first paragraph. And so you know right away that it's an opinion piece. There's been some where it has fooled you, and I agree that like, oh yeah, I think if I were you guys, I probably would think that that was a news article, where you don't get an opinion until like halfway through, because that writer is giving a bunch of facts and setting up their facts. So setting up their reasoning, setting up their evidence, setting their claim. Ooh, these sounds familiar, right? They should. And then they give their opinion. They start talking about their ethos, and they start talking about things to persuade you. Persuasion, both meanings of the word that we both know. And so you don't get that first person point of view until like halfway down or a couple paragraphs down. So you have to read through and to make sure that there's not anything there. So you know that there will be a point of view, an opinion in it, which is why it's called an opinion piece. A news piece will not have an opinion. It's literally saying what is happening. It'll give you data, it'll give you stats, it'll have quotes from other people where they're talking and interviewing other people and they're saying this person said this. It'll say this happened here at this time during this day. Those are really easier to find, I find, than opinion pieces. Opinion pieces are a dime a dozen. They're everywhere, but a news piece is really, well, it's tougher to find, I think, in the grander scheme of things. So you will have to do a little bit of digging. I did a video for another database that may be helpful called Opposing Viewpoints that could be helpful. So I'm sending that along with you guys. I hope that this is helpful and it clears things up. If you did not get this information in 1301, I apologize. I cannot spend time like doing a whole lesson and teaching you how to do this. If you need additional information, additional help, I highly recommend that you go to the librarians, not necessarily the writing lab, because the writing lab talks about writing the paper, right? But seeking information, you go to the librarians for that information, and they're able to tell you a lot more in depth than this quick and dirty video on opinion pieces versus news pieces. I hope that it's helpful. Let me know if you need any more help. See you guys later.